All right, here we go with today's learning. Who is Jesus to you? Part 2. So to recap, I encourage you to review the passage that we looked at last time, Matthew 16, 13 through 20. Have someone in your group read it on the screen or open your Bibles and find that and look at it. It might be helpful to read it in a different translation and see if there's any new questions or thoughts that come up, especially when keeping in mind the location and the context that we discussed last time. We went over the geographic location of the site where this exchange took place between Jesus and his disciples, and hopefully we found that part meaningful to the context. One last step was to consider how people talk about Jesus today in comparison to some of the things they might have said about him back then. So that's a recap of kind of what we looked at last time. Here's one of the pictures we shared last time, just as a reminder of the geographic site and this huge rock that was in Caesarea Philippi where this exchange took place. Now, the focus last time was on this question of who do people say I am? Jesus was asking them, who do people say the Son of Man is? Who do people say Jesus is? And so we talked a lot about what others say about Jesus. But there's also a second part to that conversation, right? And so he shifted gears and turned the focus to, what about you? Who do you say I am? And talking to all of his disciples, and Simon Peter just happened to be the one that answered that question. But let's do the same thing that Jesus did and turn the focus now onto this part of who is Jesus to you? Who do you say Jesus is? So we're going to look at this actually with a twist and start with not who do you say I am right now, but who is Jesus to you now, but who was Jesus to you throughout different parts of your life. So as a group, your first discussion here is going to be about this question of who was Jesus to you as a child? What was your understanding of Jesus in your first decade of life? How did you feel about him? What did you believe about him? It could be that you're watching this video and you're from another religion, another religious background, an upbringing. Maybe there was no talk of Jesus at all, and that's fine as well. So whatever your answer is, whatever your background is, that's fine. But take a few minutes right now and in your groups, discuss this question. Go ahead and pause the video and do that now. So our next question is, who was Jesus to you as a teenager? Who was Jesus to you as a teenager? During your adolescence, what was your understanding of Jesus? What feelings and thoughts did you have toward him? So go ahead and pause the video and have that conversation now. And then the next one is, who was Jesus to you as a young adult? So career is getting started, marriage for some people, family for some people, maybe living independently, making a living on your own. All of those things might be factored in when you're in your 20s. College life. What kinds of beliefs, thoughts, and feelings characterize this phase of your life when it comes to Jesus? So go ahead and pause again and have that conversation. All right, so let's bring all of that together now. So you've talked about what Jesus was like for you, who he was to you as a young child, a teenager, a young adult. And now let's take that whole comprehensive picture. How has your view of Jesus changed over the years? What did you notice about the answers that you gave to those different questions? Were they the same every time? Were they different? And why? So how has it differed? How has it stayed the same? How has it evolved over time? So go ahead and have that conversation to just reflect on that based on the answers you already shared with each other. Okay, so throughout your life, what factors have affected the way you have answered the question, who is Jesus to you? What were the influences? What were the factors that were involved that made you think differently at different times about Jesus? So have a conversation now about those influences and other factors that shaped your spiritual development and understanding of Jesus. Pause the video and do that now. Okay, so I apologize if you can hear a dog barking in the background, but now we're getting to the crux of the matter, the critical question here, and that is, who is Jesus to you now? So spend a few minutes writing your thoughts about this. So I'm going to ask you to do this individually, independently, silently first to start with. Who is Jesus to you now? And just take a few minutes to reflect on that on your own first before sharing anything with the group. What you may want to do here is actually create a little web or a diagram where you put Jesus in the middle and then branch off of that with different nouns or adjectives that help you think of the ways that you view Jesus now. But go ahead and pause the video, take 3 minutes, let's say, and do that now. All right, it's time for our bye-bye blessing. So after you've had this conversation, you notice that the presentation itself wasn't very long this time. There's a lot of interaction and a lot of conversation, hopefully, that you had, and it was rich with discussion about the spiritual journey that everybody in your group has been on. So share something that someone else said or did that impacted you during this time. And by sharing the way they blessed you, you can turn around and bless them. And have a great day and act with grace and simplify faith.